Domestic LPG savings to be achieved by the housewife in the kitchen, and this is the need of the hour now at the time of LPG crisis. Macro view of the domestic LPG consumption in India, almost we can see 33 crore families in India and domestic LPG consumers as on March 2020-25, and 10 crore consumers receiving the subsidized LPG under PMUI scheme. 60% of the LPG is imported for our India, and 90% of the LPG consumption is used by the domestic consumers. The daily deliverables of domestic LPG consumers throughout India is around 56 lakh cylinders, and out of the 30% LPG savings projection as guided by the decade-old PCRA's practices to the housewives in the kitchen, 10 to 15% would have been already been achieved, and definitely it can be further improved upon further. The next 15% by facilitating the burner cap swap and the gas saver retrofit at a subsidized cost. Let us say by achieving this energy savings around 10 to 15%, you can see almost from 56 lakhs to say, let us say the consumption comes down by 50 lakhs, almost 6 lakh LPG domestic cylinders reduction per day. It's almost 10,000 crores of rupees now per annum, and almost 10 to 15% savings in your cylinder. Almost this is equal to almost 10,000 crores per annum, and for the nation as such. So our precious foreign exchange reserves need to be saved by reducing the LPG imports. I am just glancing through the PCRA's decade-old LPG conservation practices, the do's and don'ts. If you see, almost after trying all the possible routine service and exercise in our LPG stove, and still it is not possible, let us try to replace with a star rated and 5-star rated LPG stove. That is one aspect. Second one is going for the pressure cooker. We all see these are all the routines. This has been educated by PCRA almost 20-30 years back, and every Indian housewife is following this. Pressure cooker using for faster cooking of and saving of fuel, and lighting the stove only when there is a assembled all the cooking items near the stove. Cooking with the optimum quantity of water in the stove. So you can see the do's and don'ts, accordingly you can plan it. It's only a revisiting of the PCRA's installations or the instructions given to the housewives now. So the ways to improve the efficiency of your existing domestic stove, why it is needed now. In general, the thermal efficiency of your existing stove is around 40% only, say around 30 to 40% only. See, it's all decades old stove. And the star rated LPG stove is around 70%. So the 30% gap is there, that needs to be reduced now. How this can be reduced in your existing stove is the first step, and if it is not possible, to replace with a 5-star rated stove as such. So replacing your burner head caps, if it is totally corroded, or replacing your burner assemblies, this also will improve the LPG efficiency. The symptoms is the burner head holes are choked or blocked, and the holes are becoming more in size, and the leaks are happening in the LPG happening in the sides of the burners. So if your LPG savings is not achievable in your existing stove by correcting the above steps, definitely you need to go for a star rated LPG stove that gives straight away 30% LPG savings from your existing stove. Also, the companies or the corporates, they can plan to gift freely to their employees to cover for their scope 3 emission targets, the like star rated LPG stove or the BLDC fans or LED lights or 5-star rated fridges, because each and every 5-star rated fridge consumes only 1 unit per day, when the ordinary fridge what you are using in your house, it consumes almost 3 units per day. Coming to the PCRA guidelines, the do's and don'ts: reducing the flame once the boiling starts, and cereal should be soaked in water before cooking, and using a broad based vessels. Here it calls for more of a, say, around 10 inches to this almost 25 mm size of a bottom size of the vessel, that makes the vessel to absorb more heat at the bottom, and this is a better option compared to the narrow vessel as such. Placing the lid on an open vessel before cooking, either fully closed or partly open lid, definitely it helps in reducing the gas consumption. Million thanks to PCRA under the Ministry of Oil and Gas for educating the housewives for over many decades as such. But the oil companies, through their local marketing network in all the corners of India, now they can catalyze, facilitate and motivate the LPG savings in each and every domestic consumer. See, 33 crore families are there across India. What can be done now? So, distributing the LPG stove burner head and the LPG saver at a subsidized cost, this will instantly give the energy savings of LPG savings of around 15%. To give a spare burner head, say 2 numbers per family or per stove to the existing customer as a at a subsidy. Also, approve the LPG authorities need to approve the LPG saver. I will just discuss in depth later. It is already working in millions of Indian homes over decades. Retrofit this LPG saver to the existing LPG consumers at subsidy, so that LPG saving almost around 15% can be achieved, and only by the oil companies' initiative now that can be achieved in the Indian kitchens now. Coming to the PCRA guidelines, say a small burner on gas stove, it's more efficient, the cooking is almost it is same only, and the quality of cooking also is good. A bright steady blue flame indicates an efficient cooking. Also the clean burner stove, stove burner, that is more important. At cleaning the burners at regular intervals, that calls for immediate attention by the housewife as such. So, do not keep the food items straight from the fridge, from your fridge to the gas burner. It increases more of your cooking time, and LPG gas consumption also goes up as such. So, why this promotion of LPG saving by the authorities is needed now? Because typically the housewife normally retains the gas stove, LPG gas stove for minimum of 5 to 10 years. Say it will be almost more than 10 years only. We don't change it. Our typical mindset is not to change the LPG stove for a minimum of 10 years. That is our conservative mindset. But if you see the wetted parts in the stove, or the burner assembly and the burner head, the corrosion takes place internally faster, and better to replace that, especially the wetted parts, the burner head and the burner assembly, once in 2 years. The oil companies can definitely educate the housewife to replace the burner head and the burner assembly once in 2 years. It is a routine exercise to be followed. And the burner head bought along with the stove a decade back, corroded and out of shape now, and leaking from the sides and bottom. The LPG is leaking, and the holes are also expanded due to poking, frequent poking by the housewife as such. It is a routine exercise done by the housewife to clear the chokes on the burner head holes as such. So, when the LPG dealer goes for the household, the local LPG dealer goes for a refill, the active spare burner head to each gas stove can be given to the consumer, LPG consumer, to the housewife, and let them educate the housewife to keep it clean and routinely, consistently educate the housewife to keep it clean and routinely, and this gives a monthly savings, this gives us instant savings of 5% as such. This is what I was just telling about the active spare burner heads to be given to the individual LPG consumer, either at the time of stove purchase to the existing consumer by the oil companies, to facilitate this to replace the old burner heads. This exercise, if it is done, straight away the nation can see around 5% LPG savings throughout the India, across pan India as such. You can see the old burner head. Okay, now it is costing around, see this, I have done this in my house some 2010 as such, almost 15 years back. It was costing around 50 rupees, now it is almost 100 rupees each burner head. This burner head is replaced, and you can see the savings from 53 days, the average was achieved. Before it was 50 days only, the cylinder was giving the before refill, and after changing this burner head, the days increased, they extended by 3 days more, almost 5% achieved. And this I have observed over a span of almost 5 to 7 years as such. Then how can we improve your gas stove workings from today? First of all, please keep in mind your cooking will not be efficient or effective or faster if there are defects in your existing stove. So, first try to correct and clear the clean and clear the defects in your stove first. Routinely service your stove, as this makes your cooking also faster and your LPG saving also is there and your time is also getting saved. Remove the burner head from your stove, boil it in hot water for an hour, add spoons of baking soda and brush it with a toothbrush. Use lime to scrub and rinse well as such. Use wooden toothpicks to pierce the burner holes smoothly from inside and outside, so that the holes are becoming very smooth and the flow of LPG through the burner holes, it will be very smooth and with no friction in the holes as such. The bore holes need to be clean and smooth surfaced with no blocks in fact. So, with toothbrush, brush out all the internals of the burner assembly also once in a while. Maybe it is for a month or maybe it is for a 2 months or maybe it is for a fortnight, depending on your usage as such. Always keep your LPG burner flame in sim only for cooking. The cooking is always, the quality of cooking is definitely good. The housewife will definitely vouch for this as such. And when the flame is at the bottom of the vessel, the heat transfer to the food is better as such and faster also. And when the LPG flame is kept at a high, the knob is kept at a higher position, heat transfer to the side of the vessel is more and not to the food. So, ultimately it is a lot of loss of LPG, more of cooking time, and it is a loss to in both in time as well as in LPG consumption as such. Improve your daily cooking habits efficiently and save LPG in its usage using a flat, broad and light weighted vessel for water boiling. You need not use a heavy vessel for water boiling. A light weighted vessel also will do the job effectively, and the cooking time also, this boiling time also will come down. Alternatively, Bureau of Energy Efficiency always guides us, especially it gives lot of thrust to use the induction stove for the boiling or pressure cooking or for any applications, cooking applications. So, for instant boiling of water, you can definitely use your electrical kettle, and this is the best suited, very fast and best suited, especially in the cold climates. Many of the citizens are using it. Using the separators in the cooker to combine all the food gradients, the quality of food gradients in one pressure cooking, that is more important now. Many of the housewives have started implementing this. Don't allow to brim out your cooked food from the vessel, as this spoils the bottom of the burner and the burner head also. Observe this your stove after cooking and remove all the after removing the cooked vessel. It needs daily routine cleaning, and weekly or monthly or fortnightly it needs a routine cleaning. This is more important to keep the health and upkeep housekeeping of the stove as such. In cooking or boiling of water, partly cover the lid at the top. It makes the cooking faster also. It's like a mild pressure cooking. What you use in the pressure cooking is fully closed vessel, whereas you are using a partly closed lid. It is a mild pressure is exerted in the top of the vessel above the water, and this makes the cooking faster as such. Again, this is a step to be taken by the LPG OEMs, or it can be done by the oil companies, or it can be done by the housewives also, numbering the LPG knob. It's a simple job to know whether we are using it at sim position or max position. In terms of, see, everyone needs to be digitalized. We are in the digital age. Let us try to put 1, 2, 3, 4 knobs and the a label on your stove knob, so that this will help us to maintain at either sim or at the mid position, and you can monitor your cooking by keeping the knob at the right position at an optimum position. What is the need of LPG saver now? Now coming to the next point is why the LPG saver is needed and the safety device is needed now. First of all, replace your LPG hose to Suraksha type model orange color branded hose as such. The existing burner head supplied by the LPG stove OEMs to be buffed inside. See, what are all the new burner heads you are buying from the LPG OEMs or from the LPG branded stores, it needs to be buffed inside, so that there is no burr is left inside the burner cap as well as in the at the burner inside of the cap, and this burr causes the choked flow of LPG across the burner holes as such. Now numerous accidents happen every day, either day or week or month throughout India due to LPG leakage, and this causes damage not only to the individual house but the whole multi-storied buildings or row houses, or wherever it is happening. The one LPG cylinder blast means the whole area gets totally damaged in material and loss of lives, and lot of infrastructure damages happen due to one cylinder of leakage. So let us try to prevent this leakage from the cylinder's hose to the stove by retrofitting this stove as such, this LPG saver as such. First step is to exercise the LPG leakage prevention, and the second step is to implement now and the LPG authorities under the Ministry of Oil and Gas, they need to approve this LPG saver and this burner cap replacement to the existing customers at a subsidy as such. This is what I have purchased almost 11 years now, and I purchased at the cost of 600 rupees, and this is still available in e-commerce platforms for around 1000 rupees, and this gave a savings of almost 10% till date for the past 10 years. Initially I was consuming more than 6 or 7 cylinders per year. Now I am consuming only 4 cylinders per year thanks to the LPG conservation practices that is inculcated by the PCRA throughout the nation, and it is very much useful to me, and I felt when I am saving LPG, why not the other citizens of India need to save the same LPG by going for this type of retrofit that is available, but that needs to be approved by the LPG authorities. It is more than safety and savings. Retrofitting this LPG gas saver cum safety device on your existing cylinder, it gives a conservative savings of LPG savings, and definitely it improves the LPG safety also. This is a auto trip cum saver device. This needs to be approved. Again I am repeating this because millions of devices, this type of retrofit gadgets have been working in millions of Indian houses, Indian homes since more than a decades. So to retrofit on the top of your cylinder, on the top of the existing our regulator, and connect this existing regulator to the stove as such. This device automatically trips on sensing the LPG leakage from the regulator to the LPG stove, and thus preventing the LPG leakage accidents. This happen often now, and millions of homes are already have deployed this device on their LPG stove as such. It costs only 1000 only, and the payback is very quick and depends on the usage as such. As I said before, Bureau of Energy Efficiency gives priority to the energy efficient cooking in the Indian kitchen and using this induction stove. Housewife needs to utilize the induction stove to the maximum in boiling of water or milk or any of the cooking applications. The induction stove OEM, here I just want to point out, the induction stove OEM gives 10-inch circle display. You can see the display on the black top. For the efficient cooking, you need to put a flat vessel only. The vessel needs to be broad enough to occupy that circle that is given by the induction stove OEM. Let this be also put by the LPG stove OEM also in their stove top, so that once it is kept like this will prompt the LPG user, the housewife, to go for a broader vessel to be kept on the LPG stove as such. Also, keeping the partly closed lid in the induction stove when boiling water, this still further saves cooking boiling time of water. This I have observed myself in my house, and I have been applying this for the past 5 years when I am using this induction stove now. It takes only shorter time to boil. So BE can give guidelines for the induction stove cooking efficient, how to use the induction stove efficiently, like what the PCRA guidelines has been given during the LPG gas stove cooking. So knowing your LPG and how to use it safely and efficiently to save our LPG, that is more important. See, out of all the fossil fuels available in India or across the world, LPG is the cleanest fuel that is to be selected for the kitchen as such. If you compare the LPG versus electricity kWh in terms of kilocalories comparison, it is the energy content. The kilocalories comparison for the common man, A 14.2 kg LPG domestic cylinder, the energy equivalent is almost 206 units, and it is almost equal to 1 month of EB units consumption for a normal middle class family, Indian family. So it is a mobile powerhouse which we are using in our LPG cylinder in our kitchen. So you have to take utmost safety and cautious in your usage. Safe usage of LPG cylinder and the LPG stove in your kitchen is more important now as such. The oil companies, we should appreciate, the LPG stove gas is stenched with mercaptan chemical for easy detection by our nose. LPG gas by itself, it is odorless, it is not having any smell, but this stenched with mercaptan chemical to give a early detection by our human nose. Also, we have to keep in mind LPG is 1.5 times heavier than air. So LPG concentration in air is greater than 10%, let us say, at the surrounding of the LPG stove or at the near the cylinder. It causes dizziness to you in few minutes, to the housewife in few minutes. 1% concentration means it takes around 10 minutes. So higher the concentration leads to asphyxiation, thanks to the LPG data sheet given by the BPCL, BPCL as such. So keeping your kitchen ventilated throughout the day and never switch on any electrical appliance in the kitchen after long hours of totally closed. If the kitchen is kept closed for the night, just first when you enter the morning, you have to open out the windows and doors first and ventilate your kitchen, and then only you can switch on your electrical appliances. The oil companies, through their local distributors, their service teams, definitely can visit the each consumer, and this step is very much welcomed by the consumer to promote the LPG safety and saving in the LPG Indian kitchens. Also, in the usage practices, if you see, if you are using a 5-liter cooker for a 2 or 3 member family, 3-liter cooker will do. See, this is where you have to optimize your cooking vessels also to match your cooking time and your to your cooking amount and to the match to the size of your family. Some of the people say he is a bachelor and he is using a 3-liter cooker, means it is a waste of LPG consumption and it takes more of a time. A 1-member family using a 3-liter instead of a 1-liter cooker, it is a waste of LPG and cooking time also. So we have to consistently educate the LPG user, the housewife, to update and make use of the LPG rationally and achieve the LPG savings in the long run as such. So oil marketing companies, stove OEMs can facilitate the LPG savings in kitchen by by marketing the energy efficient practices and the products and retrofits and stickers, so as to reduce the LPG consumption in the Indian kitchen as such. The oil companies, through their dealers, can paste their plastic labels, as I was telling before, on the stove burner knobs, so that the knob is given a digital movement from sim to maximum, and accordingly the housewife can use it very conveniently. Also, they can paste this heat reflective 10-inch sticker, this line around the plastic label around the cooking gas stove top, so that the housewife will be prompted to use a broader vessel, say around 10 inches size, and a broader vessel definitely is less time cooking and less LPG usage and more LPG savings as such. So the prompting the housewife in the instant savings, brings instant savings from the day one of installation. So the gated community associations also can initiate to buy this LPG saver for common safety after due approvals from the authorities. Utilize the local distributors to make the LPG savings happen in kitchen immediately, and this LPG education, especially to the Indian housewife, is half done in LPG consumption. You can definitely save more on the LPG savings and conservation now as of the LPG crisis today. So the charity begins at home. Likewise, the LPG savings begins at your home, and it is a service to the nation. Thank you. Thank you.